Hello and welcome back to the Arctic Flying Expo, and as predicted we've had rain overnight and it's still raining now. We've had to sit in the planes for about an hour waiting for it to ease off, but we're now ready. But before we go, here's a look at the route so far from Deenethorpe in the UK through to Bob's-in, and here's a look at the chart which shows our route up to the Baltic coast and then heading east along to Bath. So lining up for runway 28, we've decided to set the hard as the grass is wet. Runway 28 hard's fairly short, but we've got those traffic lights that stop the traffic, and luckily they are stopped because we just get into the air as we cross the road. It's a fairly dark sky this morning and the clouds fairly low, but as the day progresses it is forecast for it to brighten up a bit and the clouds to lift and be broken. So we're setting off into fairly grim conditions. Probably going to rain en route, but the day is going to get better, and hopefully it gets better before we make the crossing over to Sweden. People ask me all the time, as a Flexwing pilot, the usual questions: how fast do you go? How far can you go? How high can you go? And what happens if it rains? Well, the answers to those questions are: how fast do we go? Well, we usually cruise about 80 mile an hour in the GTR. It seems to be a nice cruise speed for it. The fuel consumption's not too bad at sort of 13-14 litres an hour. As far as distance, well, we're cruising at 80 mile an hour and we can do 4 hours in the air. So, I mean, do the sums. Obviously depends on whether you've got a headwind or a tailwind, but we don't know that until the day. How high can we go? Well, really, you don't want to be going over 10,000 feet because you start to get a bit lacking on oxygen. You're fine at 10,000 feet, but if you go above it for any length of time, you're pushing it a bit, really. We don't really fly at them sort of altitudes very often. I would have thought, as an average, I would fly somewhere between 1,000 feet and 2,500 feet most of the time. In the summer, we fly higher generally to get away from the bumps. It's not uncommon in the summer to be up at 6,000 or 7,000 feet just to get some smooth air to fly in, so it becomes a bit more manageable. And then with regards to the rain, what happens if you fly in the rain? Well, not a lot. As you can see, we're now flying in rain and nothing bad's happened. We don't suddenly drop out the sky. The thing that happens with rain is you get wet and the visibility drops. So the cloud base will generally be lower, the visibility will drop, and you'll get wet. And as long as your electrics are up to it, you're not going to have a problem. It will fly just the same. But here we are, the weather's broke a little bit. It's brightened up a bit. We're on the coast of the Baltic Sea. and we're heading into Bath. So this is the airport at Bath that we've just landed at. So we've 5 flight plans to get over to Sweden. So it's not a little grass strip airport, this is not. This is a big old gaff, but there's nobody here, only us. There we go. We've parked just around the corner. A few little planes there. I think they have some big stuff in here. Here he is, eating his cake. And here's the progress so far. We're now halfway across Germany and we're just going to make our way up and then flip over to Sweden. And here's a look at the chart that shows us at Bath and then doing the 46-mile water crossing over to Sweden. So let's have a closer look at the chart as we take off from Bath and work our way up to the tip of Germany before coasting out towards Sweden. We've got a series of islands that we've got to work our way across. about a 20-minute flight, but this gives us enough time to gain a bit of altitude and make the relevant calls on the radio and get the services we need to cross the water. feet in the smooth air, and as soon as we've dropped down to around 2,000 feet, I have to say it is fairly lively. We've got a raging crosswind coming from the west straight across the runway. We have decided to come in on runway 19 as the trees are further away from the runway, so this should make it a little bit easier for us. We generally fly fairly tight circuits in Flexwings as they're a very manoeuvrable aircraft, but on this occasion this required a long approach and a nice consistent glide slope, and I also wasn't really looking forward to putting it down. Well, I'm happy with that. Was it skill or was it luck, or should I have gone around? Maybe you could comment below. But I'm happy we're in one piece and the aircraft's in one piece. We'll get parked up a bit quick now and we'll watch Dave coming in and see how he gets on. Well done, like a pro. So this is Ljungby Fringe Flying Club. This is where we're stopping tonight. They've given us permission to use the clubhouse to sleep in, which is very welcome. We've tied the planes down as it's blowing quite strong, and we've also set the tents up. We put them away wet, so it's good to get them out for an hour and dry them off in this wind. So they can all get packed away nice and dry. Quick look around the airfield, and there's a nice twin that leaves fairly early in the morning. This is the progress so far. We've now crossed the water and we're heading up Sweden. It's time to get some food inside us. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on episode 4.